Okay, I think we can start the webinar now. Hi, I'm Charlotte, and we've got a webinar today on 8 reasons why online communities fail and how we can help. I've got Phil with me here, who's going to take you through a short presentation about this, and I've got Sandy, who's going to take you through the software and show you the way around it. We've got a question and answer box in the bottom here, so if you've got any questions during, feel free to ask, type them in, and at the end I'll do my best to answer as many as we can. So I'll pass over to Phil now to start the webinar.
Hi, thank you, Charlotte, for the introduction there. All right, I'm going to start today, but I think by being a bit controversial. When I'd done some Googling before this webinar, one of the things I found was that if you Google why online communities fail, you'll find quite a lot of blog articles and other comments and people have made on different forums. If you Google why market research projects fail or market research fails, you'll find almost nothing. There's a good reason for that, because most market research is sort of quantifiable, and certainly any quantitative research, we have questionnaires and there'll be a measure of success with that, whatever outcome there is. Even if you just tell your client that 76% of their customers are satisfied with their service, it might be something they know already, but it's something that you're just telling them. And so the research sounds like a success. Of course, in practice, it's not really like that. Research projects have all shades of grey in there. Some are fantastically successful, and I know there's a lot of professional research companies out there that do fantastic research, but some aren't quite so good. The questionnaire might have been able to been better. Something about the sampling might have been better. Perhaps it was an online survey and you couldn't really recruit the sample you wanted. Things do go wrong in market research surveys, and so there's a spectrum of outcomes that can be from total successes to perhaps rarely total failures, but still something as a failure. Yet online communities sometimes get dubbed as being failures or not relevant. I've heard this said at conferences, and I think it's probably an unfair thing to pin on online communities. And the reason for that is that when they do fail, they can fail spectacularly, perhaps. If you can't get a community that sticks together, that maybe that particular project hasn't worked well and you're not able to give your client anything particularly useful. But that doesn't mean that online communities can't be successful. And it's my view that the reason online communities fail is because of things that aren't done professionally or perhaps in the right way. So this webinar is going to look at that and look at some of the key reasons why online communities fail. It may not be all the reasons, but it's certainly what I think are the 8 key reasons. So let's start to look at some of the reasons why online communities fail. And I'm going to start with this topic, reason for being, which sort of sounds a bit loose and a bit woolly, but what does it mean? Well, we know from market research surveys that you get closed responses, you ask closed questions most of the time. We do occasionally have open questions, but most questions are closed. And the outcome of that is that we get some answers. We don't know what quality they are. We hope they're very good quality, and I'm sure usually they are. But with communities, we don't know what we're going to get. We've got to allow expression, and allowing expression means, by definition, we're not going to necessarily get what we expect. Now, I think that's a good thing in many ways. So comparing perhaps quantitative research with an online community is not a fair comparison in the first place. But it goes a lot further than that, the reason for being. There needs to be a purpose to the community. Now, that might sound as though I'm trying to say to you, well, make sure you know what your goals are for your community, and that I think is important. But actually that misses a really big point, that there needs to be a purpose, not just for the company managing and handling the community, but and also for the people who are taking part in the community. They need a purpose, and their purpose may be one of many or one or more things. It could be that they want to share or gain some knowledge. It might be they want some mutual support with people in the same position as them or using the same service or products as them. It could be they actually want to just exert greater influence over the product or service that they use. So there's various reasons, and they're not all of them, of course, why people want to belong to a community, but there has to be a purpose on both sides. And one of the examples I give to that is, just to perhaps highlight that, is you might perhaps go to a bar or something one evening, you might meet some really good people, have a really good conversation about something, and then leave at the end of the evening. Now, that's not a community. Very clearly, it's not a community unless you decide you're going to meet every Thursday for the rest of time. It's not a community because it's actually just a get-together. And that's a difference between a get-together and a community. A community's got to have some cohesion to it, whereas a group of people that you meet in a bar and have a good evening with are going to disperse and possibly never see each other again. A community also mustn't be all about you. It's very easy to set up a community because it's you who wants to find out these things, it's you who wants to do these things and give your client perhaps the best possible service. But it's not all about you. You've really got to think of the people who are in that community. And I think it's a good idea to have measurable goals. So when you start your community, set some goals out for the community that you want to achieve. Otherwise, that does sound like purposeless research, and that obviously isn't a good thing. But be in a position where you reassess regularly. Don't just say, right, these are my goals, that's all I'm doing. Reassess. So that's perhaps a reason for being extends beyond that, but having goals, but also making sure there's something in it for everybody. Putting in the effort sounds like a very obvious statement, and where I see things going wrong in communities is that people underestimate the time it takes and the effort it takes to nurture the community. It takes time. Looking after the members of a community is not something that just happens. It's like having a group of friends or a group of people you play sport with or something like that. Unless you're really putting your bit into that community, you soon become less popular in most cases, and that community is going to dissolve or not be quite as good as it should be at any rate. And I think one thing that it's easy to do when you're setting up a community is to sort of almost have a list of things you're going to do. And that might work very well, perhaps with a quantitative research project where you have a list of things you're going to do. When you get the results, you then obviously are going to turn that into a report or something like that. And I think with the community, that can be a fallacy, that if you lay down a list of plans and just execute them, something's going to go wrong. And there's a very great need to not just be putting out what you want to put out, but actually on a regular basis, make a very conscious effort, maybe once a week, maybe even more often, to find time to be objective, to look at what's going on, assess what responses you're getting, assess what's working, what's not working, think of the individuals. If you've got a small group, think of the individuals in that group, what are their needs, look at different types of individuals, and really try and take a step back and be objective about your community so that you can nurture it in the best way possible. And I think thinking strategically is an important part of a community. When you have a market research project, the questionnaire is made, it's sent out, it's uncommon to actually change that questionnaire halfway through field work. You normally stick with what you got, and that's the end of the project. Occasionally, of course, there are changes. But with a community, you want to be thinking on your feet, think strategically. Sometimes it might make sense to break that community into maybe 3 smaller groups. Perhaps you're finding that there's a very definite split between the parts of the community, and it might be worth, for some or for a time, splitting that community into 3 groups so that you can work with them as 3 different groups of people and perhaps bring them back together occasionally or at a later stage. So putting in the effort is really important. It's not something where you can say, okay, I've got a list of 10 things I'm going to do over the next so many weeks and just execute those efficiently. Efficiency doesn't necessarily equal a successful community. And this leads on to taking the time to build trust. Building trust is a very important thing in any community. We look at our personal lives. It's very easy to not really put enough in when you feel you can't trust the other people in there. You really got to build that in trust. And this is not the same as enthusiasm. This is not showing that you're very excited about your community and putting in that time to show it. This is something quite different. This is where you've got to care about the individuals in your community, particularly if it's a smaller community where you can do that, or each person is perhaps more key than if you've got a large community. But you mustn't give an impression that you're taking control, because that can have a negative effect. People don't want to be dictated to, and it's important that you give people some freedom in there so that they can behave in the way that they want to. And I think it's important to give people feedback. I know that when, you know, it's important perhaps when something goes wrong to admit a mistake that you've made. So if you ask people to conduct an activity and you perhaps haven't described very well what was required of them, if that doesn't work, that activity, admit it. Admit you made a mistake and apologise for not making it clear, because for sure there'll be some people who might come back to you and say, I don't understand what I've got to do. Other people who probably be quite happy to do their best. There might be some, though, who are saying nothing and actually are very confused and starting to not feel part of that community and distrusting what's going on, or think you have some other motive. So make sure that you're open, honest, admit mistakes. Admitting mistakes actually will build trust. And one trick I know some clients have worked with is run an Ask Me Anything session. If you've got something, perhaps a product that has some technical knowledge that perhaps may not be in the public domain, perhaps get a developer or someone who's responsible for that product on for an Ask Me Anything session, so that people in the community can actually feel as though they're getting something and building a trust and a relationship with the company the research is about. So building trust is a really key part of a community. The next thing that I think can damage communities is fear. And allowing freedom is a really important part of a community. It's easy to be frightened of losing control. It's your community, it's your baby. You want it to go how you want to, but you have to let go of that a little bit and not be frightened of losing control. Allow some freedom. Brand managers, I know, can be frightened sometimes of losing control because they don't want their brand to be taking in a direction that wasn't their thinking or wasn't their initial ideas. But this is valuable insight and valuable feedback, and the sort of research that doesn't come from quantitative research typically. So allowing freedom, not being frightened of what you hear, encouraging almost if something's a bit outspoken or different from what you might expect, encouraging that feedback can be really valuable information which just wouldn't come out in a normal survey. I've mentioned this in passing already, that the next thing I want to mention is something in it for the community. Now, there's some tangible things that, and some people react to this when you say something in it for the community. There's things like money you can give them, there's points you can give them, you can give them other bonuses like some discounted or 2-for-1 offers or whatever it might be. So there's some very tangible things you can give, and they're fine. They have their place. I certainly wouldn't criticize any of those. But there are other things that you can give that are less tangible, which really, I suppose, tie in with some of the things I've already said and perhaps go under some of the other headings. And I accept some of these slides that I'm presenting here have some overlap to them because, you know, I think that's a necessity of the way of understanding how a community works. But things like a claim can be quite important things and can actually give other people the encouragement to strive for more, make people feel good. So, for example, you could have post of the week. If somebody's made something that's a really interesting point that no one's thought about, have a post of the week. You can have a leaderboard for the points for the people that are contributing the most, but that might be the same person each week. So perhaps try and find some way of sharing that, so it's not just the overall leader perhaps who's shown, but perhaps who's done the most at weekends or something like that, so that maybe it's a different person, so that different people can be seen to be good contributors to the forum. There's other less tangible things that I think also that you must make the people in the community feel as though they're worthwhile. They're not just giving you, if you like, some information that perhaps they don't want to give. They need to feel as though what they're doing is worthwhile. And that's probably true of all groups and communities that we belong to, that we need to feel worthwhile within that community. Otherwise, we're going to walk away from it gradually. And I'm sure we've all done activities that look quite good at first, but then we don't feel as though what we're doing is worthwhile, or what we're contributing is worthwhile, or it's not valued. So keeping that less tangible things in there which make a feel-good factor is important. And I think it's important, just like any other activity we do in our personal lives, making sure people get some enjoyment from it, because enjoyment is an important part of our life. It goes without saying. The next point I want to make, again, overlaps with some of the things I've said already, but I think it deserves its own bullet point, if you like, and that's community engagement. And I think there's some things here that are slightly different from what I've covered already. I think asking the community what they want or what they expect can be really valuable. There's nothing like this type of work. Again, a questionnaire is very much a one-directional. We ask and you give us the answers. There's no real freedom in that, or little freedom in that, for people to demand what they want to say. Open-ended questions give a little bit of that, but that's still a question that's bound in some way. If you ask a community what they want and you satisfy that want and need, you're going to more likely to make them feel engaged. And I think that's a really important thing that you can offer. And it again means tying back to this earlier point of being objective, looking at what the community want. And it means perhaps going off your original route map that you perhaps designed at the outset. Nothing wrong with that. Include some things that satisfy the community, because you're going to get better research and better information by actually doing that. I think keeping the tasks varied is quite important. People are going to be more engaged if they're not doing the same thing every week. If you ask them to take a video of what they're cooking each week with an ingredient, that can get boring after 2 or 3 weeks for sure. So keeping the tasks varied is quite an important thing. And as Sandy's going to show you in the later part of this webinar, you'll see some examples of the sorts of things that can be put in place. I think there's a temptation as well to think that I've got this list of things I want to do, or my client wants to do, and execute them. And I've mentioned this already in an earlier bullet point when I was talking about putting in the effort, and sometimes, we get a list of things and we just execute them. Well, I think that can also apply here, where sometimes we perhaps set up an activity and it doesn't work quite as we wanted to. And there's a terrible temptation to just repeat it, either again as it is, which is even worse, or the worst case, or to repeat it in some subtly different form. It's not a bad thing if you do things wrong. We learn from mistakes, and maybe it makes sense to not repeat it. Maybe explore a different way of trying to get that same information. Maybe the route you're taking with the type of audience you're working with just doesn't work, and you have to accept that sometimes things fail. And I think one good thing about a community is it does give you the chance to experiment and look at what works and doesn't work. You don't be too experimental, so you have too many things that fail, of course, but have that flexibility to try some things. If they don't work, don't pursue it anymore. If something gives you something really valuable that you didn't expect, pursue it harder, and use that. And also, to encourage community engagement, I think it's good to give feedback. Tell the community something they didn't expect to hear from you. Tell them something that perhaps something that you learned from them is going to be implemented. Now, that sounds quite small, but actually really makes them feel valued and is going to keep them more engaged. That even if it wasn't their idea, but it was somebody else's idea in the community and they happen to have been aware of that, if that gets fed back as something that's become an action, that's going to make them feel really good. And revealing secrets about the business, and they needn't be deep secrets, but just things that are going on with the product, service, or brand, whatever it is, I think can also make people feel more engaged, because they're going to feel closer to you than perhaps they would if you didn't give away some information. So I think engagement is a really important point. Now, the things we covered so far are really about how to handle communities, and some of them are related to the platform you use. Clearly, if you can't offer a wide range of activities, for example, that will be problematic. But I think many of the things I've mentioned so far are about how you actually manage the community, how to get the best from the community, and they all do dip into the software you use, and the software you use is important. But now we're coming to a couple of things that really relate to the tool you use to manage this community and collect the information. And this is going to lead in to Sandy's part of the webinar today, where he's going to take you around the system and give you an introduction to our platform. So easy to use, it sort of goes without saying it's got to be easy to use, but it's got to look familiar. So different communities will have different levels of knowledge. So if it's a technology product, for example, it'll be very easy to put together a platform where people will work things out for themselves. If you've got a community that's less used to using this type of interaction with people, they're going to need more help. So I'd always recommend a welcome video to start any community. So I think it makes sense when the first time anybody connects to a community that they're just able to click straight into a welcome video that tells them what to expect. Then I think, you know, if it's a community that's not used to using such a platform, or you think they might find it hard to use, give them a video tutorial that just takes them round and just shows them where everything is, so everything becomes familiar. It can be very off-putting. I've used software, I work in software, and I've used software products, and if I can't find my way around them in the first couple of minutes, I actually can become quite frustrated, and actually it can turn me off them. And so people who are less technically able than perhaps myself, you know, they really need to be able to get straight into the platform and understand, and if they don't, have a 2 or 3 minute video that just takes them around and shows them the sorts of things that they'll be doing. And certainly using videos for more complex tasks, or where you want to explain something, sometimes videos are a lot more clear than words. Some people can glaze over words and not read them, but they take in spoken words much more clearly. So be prepared for that. And it is important that the platform is easy to use, and hopefully Sandy will be showing you that and making you feel that way shortly. And finally, we come to a wide range of activities. It's important that there's a wide range of activities. Here's the main activities that you can conduct with our Communities 24/7 platform. You've got walls and conversations, you've got polls, you can include surveys, you can have video diaries, photo diaries, chat, all the sorts of things that you would expect to have, embedding surveys into the platform. And that's what Sandy's going to take you around now. Now, he's only going to give you an overview of what the platform looks like. He can't show everything in the time we've got available, but you'll be very welcome to take a trial of the software, and we always give a free induction session to anybody, so to teach them how to use the platform efficiently, so that they can find their way around and get started very quickly. But it is a very easy platform to use, as hopefully you'll see shortly. So I'm going to pass over to Sandy now, who's going to take you through some of these activities. He's going to show you what these activities look like from both the administrator's point of view and for the participants in the community, so that you can actually sort of see both sides, if you like, of the equation, how a project is organized and run as an administrator, and how participants actually work on the community. So at this point, I'm going to hand over to Sandy, and I'll be back later for any questions.
Hi, I'm here to present to you our online communities platform, Communities 24/7. I will also try to answer the reasons why online communities fail, as cited by Phil a while ago. For the first reasons, it mostly deals with human interactions, and thus it will not be addressed by the software intrinsically. I'd like to mention the last four of the reasons why online communities fail can be addressed in some other ways. So, as we go on with the demonstration of communities 24/7, I will also be performing two roles, one as the administrator or moderator, and one as the member or panel or member of the community. You will be seeing me switching from time to time between a browser so that I can show you the different view and functions that an administrator and a member of the community can see. Now let me take you to the first reason, where it is there must be something in it for the community members. I'd like to mention in this particular time about motivators. Motivators can be intrinsic or extrinsic, wherein intrinsic motivators are those feelings that pertain to trust, belief, or faith about something, and thus it will not be addressed by this software. It basically deals with it lies within the hands of the moderator or the managers of the community. The last four will be addressed accordingly, or the external or extrinsic motivators can be those tangible things that can be awarded or given to a member of the community. Now I'd like to say, or I'd like to mention, that this online community platform has this gamification system where it gives points or enables the manager or the administrator to give points to each members depending on their engagement or contributions to the online community. Now to show you about this gamification system, I'd like to click on the configure community link here and go to the points tab. In the points tab, you can see, or you can assign points for each engagement, and the engagement is defined by the different conditions listed below here. If you want to give these points for each achievement, you just let a tick box here. If you want this point system to be applied to the whole community, including the different activities, you just leave this tick box here unchecked. If you want to apply this point system in the wall only, or the general conversation or topics, you just leave a check in this tick box. Now you can increase the different conditions listed here so that the points will only be given upon reaching the count per condition. You can also assign different community additional points like welcome bonus, first community visit, or first community interaction. So it depends upon your preference. So this point system allows the administrator or the moderator to give points to their members, and thus they can easily attribute a reward like an Amazon coupon for the most points for each members in the community. I'd like to also address the second reason why online community fail is the community engagement. In engaging a certain member of the community, it is a must that each member's contribution is recognized, so that each participation is awarded to, and the members feels that they are recognized through their contributions. As such, you can see this community leaderboard here. It lists all the top performers or top contributors from the community. As you can see, we have here this person having 8 engagement or participation, including the posts and replies, polls answered and surveys answered. And the top 3 among the members is always listed in the community leaderboard, thus making them a bit recognized with a feeling of belongingness to their community. Now, the next reason I'd like to address is a easy to use platform, and I'll be showing in a while how easy this platform can be. So first, let's deal with the basic settings of the community. I'll show you how you modify different features of this community. So this is the name of your community, the subdomain. You can choose the default language for the community. You have your English here, French, Thai. All the supported languages are listed, and you can also set the display of the community leaders if you like. This will most likely encourage the different members to participate more so that their names will be listed in community leaders. You can also have it as a link community, and the link of the community will be listed in the sidebar. And you can let the users to register from the front page, or if you prefer that your community is through invitation only, you just leave this unchecked. You have a maximum number of community members for your community. So you have here 20, and you can add an additional text for sign up. It can be a welcome message or a registration message. You can have it to be sent as a registration link here, and this is the link for the secret registration for each members. You can set the terms and conditions to be seen by the new members on the sign up page. You can also apply word filter here for profane languages. You can prohibit different types of words so that they will not be displayed as a general conversation. You can change the community email address so that you can be replied to for each email that you sent through your members. And there are a lot more for this community settings, including the Google Analytics tracking. And for the email templates, you can easily edit the different email templates which are being sent to your members for each activity or engagement. They serve as notification for each member. So for all the different templates here, it's easily edited, and your own text or messages can be put inside the contents of your email. And I'd like to show you the look and feel, wherein you can change the sidebar image or the logo for your community and the background image for your community page. Just follow the required or suggested image resolution for best results. Also, for the color stuff, this is where your text color, button or link color, background and navigation bar color can be changed. You can recolor or modify the colors of your community depending on your preference. Most importantly, we have here the front page. The front page is where your members sign in or log in. In the front page templates, we have default and hero templates. So these two default templates are offered for free, but I suggest you make use of a front page editor by clicking this button here. It will take you to the login page. So this is the design of your login page, or the front page where your members log in. You can change the different section by clicking the cog icon for each section. You can change the background image here. You can also see the different sections available for your front page. You can add your own section by clicking this button here, or you can change the order by clicking this button here. When you change the section, you just drag and drop it in the different parts of your front page, and when you click save, it will automatically be applied on your front page. And when you're finished editing your front page, you just click the close editor button, and it will automatically save, and your members can see the different settings in your front page. So that's how easy your community platform can be. Managing it is a bit tricky, but the learning curve is very easy, and you can learn how to manage this or configure your community in just 1 or 2 training session. Now, for the last reason stated is that there must be a lot of activities present for your community or online community. Now, let me take you through the different activities present in the online communities 24/7. The first activity I'd like to show you is the wall. The wall is a bulletin board wherein general topics and general conversation are posted. Each member can reply directly on the different posts. So as I am showing you this, the view of the moderator, I can start my own conversation here by tapping any message. And I can also upload an image or video together with my image. When I post it, it will automatically be added in the topmost section just below the pinned post. And a member can reply to this post by clicking the reply button. Let me switch to a member view by switching browser. This is how the member views the wall, and I just refreshed it, so the latest post is listed, and I can click reply here and make my own reply, and my reply will automatically be posted in the wall. So as you can see, there are comments below it, and if you show the comments, it will show my reply on this post. Now let me go back to the moderator view, and for me to show the comments, I like to refresh the page, and there it is. The comments added by the member is automatically be shown under my post. The next activity I'd like to show you is the poll. Poll is a short question wherein the members can vote on the different options presented to them. So this is my poll, and all votes are counted in real time. So if I click the show results button, the results will automatically be shown. As you can see, there is one who have voted for Python. So every votes are counted in real time, and it will be shown by just clicking this button. The next activity that I'd like to show you is the chat group. Chat group is an interactive messaging system for each members together with the moderators and administrator. Now these are the previous messages that was concluded between the member and the administrator. So I can type my own message here. And the member can automatically save this this message once you log into the programmer's chat group. Let me change view again. So let me log into the programmer's chat. So you can see it will count that there is 2 users connected, and that is the moderator and the member. So I can see the new message from the moderator, and I can reply to the moderator by typing my own reply. And the moderator can see my reply outright. So let me go back to the moderator view. So as you can see, I can read the message from my members. So that is the chat group. It's something like a Facebook Messenger. So the next activity that I'd like to show you is the video diary. the video diary act as a photo diary and video diary also, and it is also a one-to-one engagement. The member can only see his post and the reply of the moderator. Each member cannot see each other's post, so it's a private conversation between the moderator and the member. So the moderator can choose to whom he will be conversing with, or to whose post he would like to see. So if I choose this person, I will see my own reply to that person and that person's posts. The same way that this member can see only his post and the moderator's posts. So it is a secret conversation between the members and the moderator. The next activity I'd like to show you is the survey. The survey is where you create your survey outside the platform. Something like you can create your survey using free online survey software like SurveyMonkey. This survey is created using the SurveyMonkey platform. So if you click on this button here, it will show you the survey, and as you can see, it fits exactly in the platform as if it's created inside the platform. But actually, this survey is from an external link from SurveyMonkey. So managing the survey is not part of the platform, but you can easily integrate or embed your external survey into this platform. And lastly is the exclusive group. The exclusive group is something like a private conversation between a group of people, wherein they might be talking about something that other members of the communities should not be seeing. So only invited panelists or members of the community can gain access to this activity. Let me show you the view of one of my members. So as you can see, the activity list is only 3. It's not showing the exclusive group activity. It's because this person or this member has no access to that certain or specific activity. And let me show you another feature for the administrator. We have a list of activities here. You can see the different activities created for this community, the activity type of that certain activity, and the status. So if the status of the activity is active, meaning those members with access to this activity can see it in the activity list, and if it is archived, it will not be shown. Archived activities are those activities that has already been completed or lapsed their stated time. You can easily manage the activities list by clicking this cog icon here, and it will show you the different features, different configuration that you can modify for each activity. Another interesting feature of this community is the analytics. The analytics is where all the different interactions between your activities are listed. So the unique visitors is for those members who are visiting your activity, and the activity interactions are those engagement performed by the members. And you can also see that the most active users for each activity, and with this you can easily recognize and give award to those persons who have participated well for each activity. You can also see a members list here, and this is where you have a lot of control over your members. You can select a member's name, and you have your different actions here. Like for the community, you can create a community user, remove the user from the community or enable access for that member. You can send an invitation for that member or send a community reminder. For each activity, you can create an activity user or give them access to a certain activity, or you can just invite them directly to participate in a certain activity. We also have an observer role. You can assign an observer role for each member, for any member actually. The role of the observer is to be an invisible member, wherein they can view the different activities, everything that is going on with your community, but the other members cannot see them logging in. And you can also send your emails or personalized email to your members. This is something like a blast email. You can also view the member's profile by clicking on their name here. And as you can see, this is the profile for this member. The photo is shown here, and additional information can be shown here, wherein this is a customized field that serves as a categorization feature for each member. We have also the points list here, wherein every points they have earned for each engagement is listed. The engagement tab shows the different activities or contributions that they have given the community. As you can see, this member only has one post on the wall, and she hasn't logged in since a year and 7 months ago. So you can easily monitor the last visit of your member and who were active in a certain activity. You can see also the emails sent to this member, and for each notification it will also give them a notification message or email for this community. And I've shown you much of the features and functions of the online communities 24/7. There are much more to learn from. We are willing to give you free training, and as I have said, this platform is easy to learn. Most of our clients have started their own online community with just 1 or 2 training sessions, so the learning curve is very easy. And with that, I'd like to conclude this demonstration.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you for taking us through the platform there. I'll move on to my next slide. So just to sort of re-summarize before we go to questions now, where we've gone through in this session today is we've looked at some of the reasons why communities fail, and hopefully there's a lot of tips in there that can help you make your community far more successful. We think we've addressed most of the things that you're able to control from a software point of view within our platform, and we would certainly encourage you to take a trial of the software. You can organise that through Charlotte, for example, who sent out the invite, I think, for this actual webinar, and just see how easy it is to run your own community. You've got all the tools there. Sandy's hopefully shown you there that all the activities you want to do are available. They're fairly easy to administer and easy, of course, for the community to take part in. So I'm going to hand back to Charlotte now to see whether she's got any questions that come in. It's still not too late to ask any more questions. We'll get through as many as we can in the remaining sort of 5 or 10 minutes before we close the seminar webinar.
Thanks, Phil. Yeah, we've got a few questions that have come in already, so I'll start working through those. I've got one here that probably is more suited to you, Phil. What's the best way to get new members started?
I sort of touched on that a little bit in my presentation. I think, having a video that welcomes them, I think, is very important. if you think you've got a community that may not be familiar with working on something like this, certainly having tutorials showing them how to do things, and also using videos, tutorials to show them what you're expecting from an activity without obviously over guiding them, so they just give you the answers that you want, or you think they think you want. But I think, making sure they're looked after and welcome, and there's something in it for them. So it's important to retain. You don't want to lose too many. You will lose some members of the community but for obviously for good reasons. But you want to minimise that. So the more that people feel comfortable in the community and feel they can contribute, I think the better it is for new members and retaining those members.
Thanks, Phil. Sandy, it's probably more suited to you, this one. Can you send emails to your members using this platform?
Yes, technically yes. From the members panel, you can easily send emails to them, because you just click on every member's name, and there's an action button here that you can send various emails, and you can also uh, personalize the email contents of your emails using these platforms.
Thank you, Sandy. I've got another one, Sandy, it's probably aimed at you as well. Can you monitor emails that are delivered and those that are marked as spam?
Good question. This is a feature which we almost always encounter during this demonstration. Previously, when the online communities is first launched, there is no features such as monitoring emails. But now they have already updated the software. You can easily monitor the sent emails, the bounced email, and even the spam marked emails. You can also monitor if the intended members have opened their emails. So yes, there is a monitoring system for emails.
Great, thank you. Phil, it's probably more you. To include a survey, does it cost extra to use the survey software?
Yes, if the software you're using costs money. I mean, basically, you can embed a questionnaire from any of the online survey platforms. So that can be, I think Sandy showed one from SurveyMonkey. It could be one from our own Snap software. It could be from Confirm It. It could be anything. There's plenty of free ones out there as well. So the cost would be the same as using that software as if you were running a standalone online survey. And if it's a free platform you're using where you're allowed 100 free interviews, you would get charged nothing. If it was Confirm It, something expensive that cost a lot more per interview, it would be that fee. So it would be no different from running an online survey. And as far as I know, you can embed any of the online platforms as a questionnaire, if you like, within our communities platform. So yeah, there will be a cost, but it'll be the cost of what it would be usually to use the software.
Thanks, Phil. Another one, Phil. Would you say it's more difficult to keep a community engaged if the subject is less interesting?
That's a good question. Yes, of course, is the answer to that. You might have to make more effort if a topic is less emotive, or something where somebody doesn't feel the need to be part of the community to state their opinions or whatever. I think there's some truth in that, but it does come down again to some of the things that I said in the presentation, that you've got to nurture your community, you've got to keep them feeling engaged, you've got to make them feel there's something in it for them. And if you do all or as many of those things as you possibly can, even topics that are perhaps less interesting, and of course less interesting to one person is more interesting to another person. So I might be more engaged in a community about football rather than what shampoo I use, but I'm also prepared to believe there's people more prepared to be engaged in a community about the shampoo they use than football. So I think it's I think yes, it's something that you have to take account of, but I think, you know, you have to just give more back to retain that community and make it feel there's something for them. So it does come back to one of my slides, which I think was just entitled effort. And it's about thinking about what will make your community cohesive and successful. So, so yes, whilst I'd accept there's some truth in that, I think there's a lot you can do to make it work. But it's a good question.
Okay, just got one more that's coming at the moment. I think it's for Sandy. Sandy, how can you group or categorize members in the community?
All right. From the members panel, you can add your own customized field, wherein you can categorize each member like what I've shown you a while ago. You can add additional information or data for each member, like a department or a group of people, and adding that through their profile. And you can easily categorize each member according to your preference. So yes, you can categorize your members accordingly using the custom field editor.
That's all I've got at the moment, guys. Thank you.
All right. Well, I think if anyone's got any questions they think of subsequent to the end of this webinar, you know, just send them to Charlotte, and we'll be pleased to, you know, try and answer them as best we can. There is a blog article on this particular webinar as well on our website, and as I think Sandy mentioned, you know, I would encourage people to, you know, perhaps just try an online community with us to see how it works for you, and you know, how successfully you can work with the platform and how easy it is to use. If you take a trial, you'll get a free online session from us to help you get started. So you know, feel free to take advantage of that and see how our platform works for you. So I'll leave you to wrap up, Charlotte.
All right, everyone. Well, it's nice. Thanks for all joining us today, and we'll have a recording of this to send out to everyone probably by tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.